Hello and welcome back to Conversations in the Community. I am your host, Dania Parker-Smith with parkbench.com, South-London-Wortley, and I'm also a realtor here in London with New Vista Premier Realty and Team Forster. Today, we're joined with owner and creator of Chick Boss Cake, as well as now podcaster from Scrap the Sweet Talk, Rebecca Hamilton. Rebecca, I'm so excited to have you on the platform today. You are known for your signature cakes, your business sense, your social media presence, and now being a podcaster. Amazing. You have done so much in such a short time. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. And that was such an introduction. I don't even know what to say about that, but thank you. That's amazing.
You're very welcome.
I just think you're awesome.
Thanks. Well, I think when people see you from a different view, you don't know all the things they accumulate about you, right? And
That's
people
true.
See all of that. When I've been telling people that I was going to have you on the show, no way, no way. So I'm very excited to have you with us. So branding yourself as the Chick Boss Cake, where did that come from and why?
Okay, so basically, my husband actually was the one that came up with the name, believe it or not. But I had started out I have no experience with cake decorating or anything. I just started learning from watching the show Cake Boss, and he was such an idol for me when I was starting out.
Yeah.
And I had never seen these fancy cakes before. I didn't have them for my birthdays growing up. I don't know where the heck they came from, but I was so fascinated by it. And I was like, this Cake Boss guy is freaking amazing. So I just learned from him, and I'm a very visual learner. So I see somebody do something and then I kind of try to recreate it. So that's how I learn. And then my husband was like, hey, you're kind of like the female Cake Boss. And I was like, well, I'm not really that good, but I appreciate the love. But so that's where it came from. I like the name because it's a little bit catchy, a little bit edgy. It's not, like Rebecca's Treats and whatever. It's
Right.
Just more my personality. So that's where it came from.
Right. And 3 locations. So originally St. Thomas,
yeah.
brand new location in Woodstock, and one here in London on Wellington Road. So
yes.
You have that. You do have your brand new podcast. What's next?
What's next?
What's next for you? What is there? What's left?
Well, I actually just got finished the first draft of a book that I'm writing. So I am super excited about that. And the book is basically just my life story, where I came from, all the struggles that I had, and how I was able to push through those things and grow this really crazy big business. And I'm super proud of it and everything like that. So, Chad and I, we make our decisions like we're not business plan people. So we think about an idea and then we take action on it, which I feel like is the most important thing that people in business need to do more of, is just, make the decision, make smart decisions, obviously, but make the decision and then take action, because the action part is really what grows your business and gets you to the next level. So I think, I'm going to figure out how to publish my book and which route I want to go with that. So that's going to come out. And then obviously we might do a couple more stores too. Who knows? I don't know. But when we make that decision, we're like, okay, we're going to do it. And then we're going to do it right now.
Exciting.
So we don't come into the year with like a whole plan of what we're going to do. We just take it a step at a time. And I mean, that served us really well, obviously pivoting to the needs of COVID, and you're all of a sudden you're locked down and then you're not, and then you are. So
exciting.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, one thing that I know about you and everybody sees is this beautiful, colorful hair that you always have. It's always very well maintained. And so I have a daughter who's a hairstylist. So this question's for
nice.
her. And so tell me about the hair. What do you love about having that color? Is that just your personality, or where did all that, wanting to have that color come from?
I mean, are you saying it's not my natural color, or it might be actually? I don't know.
It might be now.
I feel like it is now.
Right.
But yeah, so actually, just to make this whole long story short, but originally I had wanted to be a police officer, and that's like the total opposite of the person that I am now. It's very like straight and like strict, and I feel like you could never get away with blue hair and crazy makeup as a police officer. It would be weird. Okay. So when I made that decision to open the bakery and embrace my creativity and really who I actually am at the core, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to have some colorful hair. And that's when I made the decision to color my hair and do whatever I want and just embrace myself and my creativity. And it started out purple. Actually, it was all purple. And then somehow it transitioned to blue. I don't even know how it happened. I just let my hairstylist kind of get creative within the realms of blues and purples and stuff like that. So, and she's really talented. She's in Cambridge because I grew up there. But yeah, and I feel like now it's part of the brand. So I think it's here to stay.
Well, I think it's part of the brand too, because people identify you, you know,
Yeah.
the face behind the business with all of who you are and your image. Yeah. Well,
totally.
that's cool.
Like if I'm like shopping or something and they see my blue ponytail, they'll come up to me and they'll know exactly who it is. So
exactly, right?
It's fun. Yeah.
So operating a business in downtown London, obviously your other locations too, but what do you love about downtown London, and why did you choose to put Chick Boss Cake where you did?
Yeah, so the location for us was super important when we were looking at the different locations. We actually looked at quite a few different locations in London. But the reason why we chose this one was because it was very like central to everything. So it's central to, you know, like it takes like 10 minutes to get to anywhere in London, basically from where we are. So that was really a key factor to us. And we like being downtown because we like the whole vibe of it and stuff like that, but we're not like right downtown. We're basically just before downtown, which is super awesome because we have a huge free parking lot, which is amazing.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, that's like, don't overlook the parking situation because, you know, that's really important to me at all my store locations is to have parking, because my St. Thomas one is not the best for parking, but all of the other ones going forward, parking is a big thing because people are picking up their cake. They have their hands full. Like they don't want to, you know, go walking down the street with their fancy cake. Right. So, but yeah, I love the location. And also it's really close to a lot of the main wedding venues that we deal with too. So it actually makes the transportation process a little less nerve-wracking, being able to make the drive shorter, right? So also important.
Wow. I never thought about that for transporting cakes to wedding venues and different events, right?
Well, yeah, like when we used to be in St. Thomas, it was quite the drive to, you know, Bellamere Winery or whatever venue we were going to. And it was like a heart attack the whole drive. So
you talked about Chick Boss Cake or Cake Boss, sorry. And if you've ever watched any of that, you've seen some of the absolute blunders that they've had.
I've had my own blunders, so I can relate. It's not fun.
Any epic ones that you want to share?
Well, you know, one thing I'm very proud of is actually I haven't had a lot, but it feels like a lot. I used to have like, there'd be like one bad one every single season, like every year, basically, right? One where you're just like, why the heck did that have to happen for this like wedding? And it's usually a wedding cake. Like, why would it be anything simpler, right? But one thing I'm really proud of is that I've always had a backup plan ready to go in the case that would happen. I'm very like organized person, and there is no way that any of my brides were going to go without a wedding cake on their wedding day. So I have always pulled through, and you know, if I open the trunk and the cake is all over the back trunk, which has happened before, it just magically falls apart during transportation for whatever reason. I get my butt back to the store and I make that wedding cake again. So I have all my ingredients like ready to go. I have the cake pre-made, like a backup cake, I'm saying. And I put my butt to work, and it is very stressful, but I make sure that that cake gets to the wedding venue 100% every single time. So I've never had a situation where I've had to make that call to the bride on her wedding day and be like, sorry, like we got an accident with your cake. And knock on wood, I hope that never happens, because I really, really, really take weddings and parties and events very seriously. So
well, the cake's usually a very focal point of a lot of big events, you know, birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, right? So yeah, they're all looking at your work. That's your business card right there.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah. What's one thing that people don't know about you?
That's a really good question, because I feel like I've been opening up more recently. I'd say I've been like more open more recently, now that I've like started my podcast and started doing videos. But maybe some people that don't know about me, because they look at like everything that I've accomplished and like all the stores and all of that kind of stuff, you can kind of just look at like the end point of where somebody is, or the point where they're at right now, and they think, oh, like they're successful and whatever. But maybe people don't know that, you know, I actually dropped out of high school when I was 16 years old to move out with my boyfriend at the time, which was an absolutely awful idea. And I do not recommend doing that to anybody. But that's just part of my life story and my journey. And I haven't had any formal education in business or in baking or in cake decorating. I'm completely self-taught, and I'm just winging it like everybody else and taking action. And at the end of the day, that's how you can have a business. You don't need necessarily education or anything like that. It does help for sure. But I think that the life skills that I learned and the challenges that I went through were all I needed to know to be able to get me through all of the hard challenges in business. So
that is a very, very encouraging story for people who are younger, who are feeling hopeless, because face it, our kids, it seems to get more and more difficult for them to choose things, and their lives are so inundated with choices now. And I think that people get discouraged before they can even get started. So watching someone
100%.
like yourself is very inspirational to them, that there's a hope and a chance that they could be just like you.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. So given all of that, is there one piece of advice you'd give to somebody who is an entrepreneur that was just starting out?
Yes. And I mean, that's a really good question, because I feel like there is a lot of different like aspects of entrepreneurship, and it's a lot of work, and it is like challenging, and it's hard at times, and you're going to want to quit, and you're going to be faced with people that don't like your product or people that don't like you, and I feel like that's always like one of the hardest things to overcome and overlook. But I think that when it comes down to it, one of the main points of advice that I would say would be that your business is only going to be as good and as healthy and as strong as the entrepreneur running it. So I feel like, because one thing that I'm really passionate about myself is self-development and improving myself and expanding my knowledge and expanding my skills. Just because I didn't go to, formal school or college or anything like that, I am learning every day. I'm Googling stuff, I'm taking conferences, I'm reading books, and anything that you can honestly do to improve yourself and your skills and your well-being and taking care of yourself and eating healthy. You're the foundation of your business. So, the better you take care of yourself and you don't overwork yourself, and, you do the things that make you feel good and give you energy, that is definitely the key to success for growing your business. Because if you don't take care of yourself first, then your business is only going to be as strong or as great as the entrepreneur who's actually running it.
Well spoken, well spoken. Well, Rebecca, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's been so great to finally get to meet you somewhat face to face. And once we get back to a place where I can come and visit the store, I would love to do that. I do have one special request though. Sure. I'm allergic to chocolate.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that.
I would love to have some sort of a cake because I've tried carob and it's not my favorite, but can you develop a cake for people that are allergic to chocolate?
Absolutely. Yes. I've actually had that allergy a couple of times. So we're pretty good at trying to accommodate different allergies. We don't get that one very often, but I've gotten a few of those, and we are very careful when we see those allergies and stuff like that. But 100%. Yes.
Thank you so much. I look forward to taste testing that.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, definitely.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you being here with us today. And thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, I'm Dania Parker-Smith with parkbench.com, South-London-Wortley, and a realtor with New Vista Premier Realty and Team Forrester. So join us again next time on Conversations in the Community.